our government has been continuously trying to bring down the transaction time. You know, when I started working way back in 1981 and then into Forbes, the customs clearance, time, those days, if we could complete that in 12 days, you know, we had achieved something, and we used to boast those days about, we do everything in 12 days. Today, it is one day job. I came into logistics accidentally.
Per ton per kilometer, air freight costs 18 rupees, road costs 3.6, water costs 2 rupees, and rail costs just 1.6 rupees. But 70% of the freight that takes place in India is via roads. And railway, the problem is safety is the biggest issue.
Amazon themselves operate on easier areas, like metro cities, 1, 2, where the density is very high. And people like us, we are into tier 2, tier 3, tier 4 cities.
Let's say I am an oil manufacturer in Jharkhand and I want to avail your services, your company's services, and I want you to transport my products to US via waterways. What I understand is you would come to my factory, load the products in a truck, and then take it to the port, load, unload it, and then ship it to US. So where do you as a company fit into this equation? Hi everyone, today we are at Total Transport System Limited in Bombay. The company has a market cap of 110 crores and the company is into logistics sector. Previously, we interviewed a company that only did road freight, but this company does everything. You name anything in logistics, be it ocean freight, air freight, this company does everything, as I said before. So we have with us Makarand Pradhan, MD and Chairman at Total Transport System Limited to discuss everything about the logistics sector. Thank you for joining us today, sir.
Thank you.
Sir, if I talk about your educational background, you have a very decent background. You did your graduation from Mumbai University in 1988 and then in 1944, you co-founded this company. So how did it all start? Did you have like a fervor or I must say passion for doing something in logistics? So how did it actually start?
I came into logistics accidentally. And I did not complete my graduation in 88. I did it in 1984.
Okay.
And I started working in logistics even before I was a graduate. I started working since 1981. And my first job was into logistics, into the Forbes division. I used to play football for them, and that's how I got in there. And then I was put into shipping and logistics. Initially into the customs clearance thing, and then slowly I was into the liner division, which was APL. We had the Agency of American President Lines those days. And from there, my actual journey started. So 1981 to 1993, I worked for Forbes. I joined as a temporary this thing, and by the time I left Forbes, I was at B plus grade manager, which is supposed to be like deputy general managers this thing. Where I was very fortunate to get all the experiences. What people are talking today, we had the experience those days under very able guidance of my then boss, Mr. Captain Arvind Portnis. So we were trained really well on it. So when we started off doing business, 4 of us from Forbes, we started doing business. Myself, Shrikant Nivande, he takes care of the finances, he takes care of the southern region, and he is also heading the last mile deliveries. It's under him. Sanjeev Portnis, he takes care of Gujarat, the Eastern India, and he is handling the air freight for us. Our fourth partner, Prashant Salvi, he passed away in 2010. His wife is the chairman now of our company, though not actively involved into the business. Most of the second generation is into the business. And my son, of course, is not there here. He is in Dubai. He takes care of the car logistics business, but that's his own venture. So this is half a decent background of what we are, how we came in. So when we started with an experience of between 10 to 12 years of this thing, and which was good enough. Multimodal Transport Act came in being in 1991. In 1994, we started doing business. So it was just basic level entry for us when there are not too many people operating, just 5-10 people operating as multimodal transport operators actually. So this is how our journey started.
So that is really nice to know how you started your business. So before asking you to segregate the business into segments, I would like to know what exactly do you do? To put it into clear words, let's say I am an oil manufacturer in Jharkhand and I want to avail your services, your company's services, and I want you to transport my products to US via waterways. What I understand is you would come to my factory, load the products in a truck, and then take it to the port, load, unload it, and then ship it to US. So where do you as a company fit into this equation?
Okay. Firstly, we are, in, if you talk about our focus, this thing, we are into LCL consolidation business.
So if you can explain the meaning of
That
LCL.
means we are specialized into carrying
Okay.
less than container load businesses.
Okay.
Okay. So like 1 cubic meter, 2 cubic meter, 3 cubic meter, and then we consolidate everything to make a container. If you talk about the example of shipper being in Jharkhand having to take oil into US, yes, today we are fully equipped, but when we started, we were not. Today we are equipped. If the exporter wants us to pick up the cargo from his factory, we can organize the transport, we can bring it into the port, we can do the custom clearance. Of course, we don't have a license for doing customs clearance, but most of our customers we can subcontract, and this is what we are doing today, not to have conflict of interest. So our customers only help us to do the customs clearance part. Then we do the stuffing into the container, and then we do the shipments. We also have the capability through our partners to do the custom clearance and transport at the destination and deliver the cargo to the customers, the consignees' doorstep. So this is what we can do in short.
Okay. So coming to the port side of the business, let's say your truck reached the port, and let's take example of any Adani or Gujarat Pipavav port. So how do these ports charge you? Do they charge you according to the time you took to load and unload the product? So how does this entire process work when it comes to ports?
It is not, there is a tariff there.
Okay.
They don't charge us on this basis when it comes to the container business.
Okay.
They get in the container, and then it is their responsibility to offload the container.
Okay, it is their
It
responsibility.
is their responsibility, and they are charging us on a per container basis.
Okay.
So it does not depend, because if there is a congestion in the port, they are liable for it. They cannot take the money from me inside the port. Okay, but I may suffer because the roads are congested or something like that. But inside the port, it is a tariff, and which they charge to the shipping lines. I don't own containers. I do own very small amount of containers, but for 98% of our business, I don't have my own containers. So they are charging to the carriers, and carriers are charging me terminal handling charges.
Okay.
And that is what I pay.
Okay. So you talked about clearing the customs documents. I think putting it in a nutshell, it feels just a tip of an iceberg, but a lot goes into it, because if I tell you there are 20 plus government agencies that you have to deal with to do this, and this comes under your line agency segment. So how do you deal with all of it?
No, first of all, if you talk about the last 5-6 years, things have changed a lot. Okay, 20 agencies, we don't have to go. Our government has been continuously trying to bring down the transaction time. When I started working way back in 1981 and then into Forbes, the customs clearance, time. Those days, if we could complete that in 12 days, we had achieved something, and we used to boast those days about, we do everything in 12
12
days.
days.
Today, it is 1 day's job.
Wow.
So things are not as difficult as they are portrayed, or as difficult as the layman reads.
Yeah.
It has become much more simplified, and things are going in a very, very nice way. We are very happy about the way things are going, and there's continuous reforms coming up to ensure that these times are eradicated. This the time is reduced to a large extent. And after being in this industry for the last 40 plus years, I can definitely say we are going for the better.
Okay. So, when I was preparing for the interview, I went through your website, investor presentation, and I was inundated with the information that you have portrayed. So, in your website, you have categorized your business into various segments like bulk shipping and linear agency and NVOCC. But if I go to your investor presentation, you have something called last mile delivery and CHS. So, for the viewers, can you segment your business in the easiest way possible and the revenue contribution you have from each?
As far as the LCL consolidation and freight forwarding business, which contributes nearly 75% of our revenues, that is what comes from the less than container load shipments that we are doing. The balance comes from the full container load business and the project cargoes that we are handling. Okay. Now these are the businesses of total transport, import, export, both things. When it comes to the business of the subsidiaries, like CDR, that is a very negligible percentage of our business. We have not even broken even on that business.
When did you start this?
We started this about 5 years back.
Okay.
But the losses have reduced a lot. And for the last 3-4 months, yes, we have been able to recover the cost. Reasons have been many, because this was first targeted as that we will bring cargoes from China and sell it into the local market. However, you all know what is the resistance for China manufactured goods in India, and that is the reason this business hasn't picked up as it should have done. We slowly shifted our goal from imports from China to imports from other areas or local this thing. But we have a good customer base, and that is the reason we are able to sell and slowly bring up to a level that where we are not losing money. Okay, it's still at a very nascent stage, I would say, in business. The other thing is One World, where we do the last mile deliveries for Amazon, Flipkart, and there are many others. Actually, as I told you earlier,
Sir, these companies, sorry to interrupt, these companies, Amazon and Flipkart, do they not have their own fleet, or do they?
See, more or less 50% of the business is carried out by their own fleet.
Okay.
But they have to use people like service providers like us who will do the rest. Okay. They will not be able to, even some areas, they use Indian Post also to deliver. So in the interior parts, it is impossible for anyone to do except for Indian Post at this stage at least. So we are one of them where they find that we are able to deliver in time and we are able to meet their requirements. Okay. So Amazon themselves operate on easier areas, like metro cities, 1, 2, where the density is very high. And people like us, we are into tier 2, tier 3, tier 4 cities.
So when you do business with these big companies, Amazon and Flipkart, do you enter into a contract?
Yeah, we have a long-term contract.
Okay.
But of course, it can be changed anytime.
Okay.
It is not that we have an exclusive contract or we have a 3-year term or nothing of this kind. These are normal contracts where we also have a right of refusal and they also have a right of refusal depending on the services that we offer.
Okay. So coming to the business model of the company, as I told before, we interviewed a company that was only catering to road freight, and they were operating something like, to put it into right words, Ola for logistics or Uber for logistics. So what is your business model? Is it asset light, asset heavy? And why do companies usually go into asset light?
See, probably when you are talking about that logistic provider, they are into asset heavy models.
Yeah.
This thing. Uh, it is everyone's personal choice whether he wants to be into asset light, asset heavy model or not. But depending on the requirements, if I was investing into a warehouse in 1996, and if I did not have the view of today's economy rise, I would have had to have two different facilities today, right? Asset light models give me an advantage that I can go into one facility, move into another facility, and still operate my business without any problems. So this is a continuously growing thing. Even if you talk about Amazon or Flipkart, how many warehouses they own? Negligible, I would say. You know, so when you see a tremendous growth in the business, then you go in for an asset light model. Use vendors, use their services. If there is anything wrong, then you change the vendors. If there is something good, you can add volumes to it, and that is how we have decided, and it is really working on well.
So you cater to ocean, air, rail, and road freight, right?
We are not too much into rail, but of course, certain containers coming in from Delhi come by rail.
Yeah.
So, but that is not what we operate. But yes, ocean, road, we do have some vehicles of our own, though not too many, which we use for our own cargoes, our own control businesses, and which is really helping us to give a better service. So we are there practically into everything. We are an IATA agent. We book cargoes with the airlines directly. We are into shipping. We have a very good name in the shipping market because
So what percentage of your revenue comes from the shipping segment? Like,
shipping sector is nearly 80-85%.
oh wow, okay. So for a matter of fact, since you are not into rail freight, but if I give you an insight, if I take a stats INR per ton per kilometer, air freight costs 18 rupees, road costs 3.6, water costs 2 rupees, and rail costs just 1.6 rupees. But 70% of the freight that takes place in India is via roads. And railway, the problem is safety is the biggest issue. Since you are the industry expert here, why do you think people or logistic providers do not use rail as a service?
Okay. Firstly, you mentioned that railway cost is lesser than road, sea, I mean ocean.
Yeah.
I disagree on it
Okay.
because the cost of moving cargo from rail is higher than cost of moving cargo by ship.
But sir, if I want to transport something in the domestic area itself, like I do not want to use the international route, but let's say from Rajasthan to West Bengal, so I would need to use the rail, right?
Yes, so that does not then compare,
Okay.
right? You are talking about comparing a per kilometer cost.
Yeah.
See, you go like this that shipping is the cheapest, then is the road, then is the rail, and then is the road, and then is of course the aircraft.
Okay.
So it is like in this sequence. Uh, why we are not using is because our infrastructure is not built to handle every cargo by this thing, by sea or by river. Our government is doing a lot of things to see if we can have a better connectivity by water. Rail, again, when you are talking about domestic cargo and which is moving in wagons, rail is of course the cheapest. Okay, no doubt about it. But when you are talking about international cargoes, where from is the connectivity from the ports to the destinations? Like for example, cargoes coming in to Nava Sheva. which are moving in Delhi is going by rail. Okay, but if it is going to Bengal, is there a connection? No. If it is going into interior part, again it has to be a rail road combination. Then again it increases the cost. So here what is happening is the connectivity for rail is limited. Okay, I do agree that it is the cheapest way of transport, but still.
And is safety an issue when it comes to rail transport?
No, it is not an issue. I mean, rail transport is quite safe.
Because people have this perception that railways are very inefficient.
No, nothing of that. Wherever they are operating, we have been using the rail transport from Delhi to Nhava Sheva for so many years, and we haven't had a single issue. So I do not know what perceptions people have and can have, but these are the things which can happen in logistics anytime, whether it is rail, road, ship, air, anything can happen. So I wouldn't say that it's not safe to transport by rail. People are using rail transport for some urgent shipments because road transport it has its own problems. Roads are being developed. We still are not full with the roads. The vehicle can break down or anything, but that does not happen with the rail.
Okay. So coming to project cargo movement, can you explain what is it? Because I have a question related to this segment.
See, when the cargoes are not loaded, cannot be loaded because of its dimensions, because of its weight or odd size, it cannot go into a container. Those cargoes, we term it as over-dimensional cargoes or project cargoes. Okay. Now, what we do as a project, let's assume it is not necessary that the project has to originate or reach India. It can be anything to anything. Like, for example, we did shipment from China into Africa, sitting in India. We coordinated everything. We picked up the vehicles and we reached it into Africa. The heavy load vehicles, cranes, all were construction machinery. Similarly, we moved engines, railway engines. I don't remember exactly from where we picked up, but they came into India. So these are certain things like army cargoes, like aircraft parts or whatever. They can be moved. We organize that, or it can be long length pipes, moving, which cannot get into a container. So we are doing that, or transformers, or different kinds of machineries, boilers. So these are the things what we do, and we are capable of arranging road transport from the customer's plant, bringing it to the port, arranging for the ship, and then moving it out and then door delivery. This is what we are in a position to do at this point of time. We have a division who handles the arrangement of the ship from any part of the world to any part of the world. This is what we are doing.
Wow. So, in this project cargo movement, you have some equipments. I think pontoon ferries. So, are these your own equipments or have you leased them?
No, we haven't leased them. We don't own them. We use them on usage basis. The cost is little high, but we don't have the pressure that it has to be used. Sometimes, if we do not get a project, my vehicle stands and that creates losses. We do not want to get into the domestic part, like helping build bridges and this and that. So we don't want to get into that. We are into the international.
So the system is cost efficient for you.
Yes. For us, it is cost efficient at that point of time. And just in the last 10 months, we have done about 16 projects, which is a very good thing.
So, you told before 80 to 85% of your business comes from ocean freight, right? And you classify yourself as NVOCC. To just give the definition, it's non-vessel operating common carrier. If I put it in a clear words, it's like being a middleman in the shipping world, right? What is your role in it?
First of all, I disagree with the term middleman.
Okay.
Okay, we are a service provider.
Hmm.
We take responsibility.
Hmm.
Okay, middleman does not take any responsibility or do value addition. So the conception that a freight forwarder is a middleman is itself not correct.
Yeah.
We add value to the service. Like even if I am booking a cargo on a ship from in a container from here to say London,
Hmm.
why do people come to us? One, the shipping lines are absolutely not flexible. Okay, you call up any shipping lines. If you have a contact there, he might pick. If not, they don't even pick up the phone. The machine answers. Okay, people don't want that. We give the continuous tracking of the container and everything. We get all those information. Of course, people use us as financiers. No shipping company gives credit. We give credit. Okay. Sometimes people have to stuff containers in the port or the CFS. Shipping lines don't do that service. We offer that service. Okay, we have been given the license to operate as multimodal transport operator by the Director General of Shipping India. Okay, where we have taken our own insurances. You go to a shipping line and ask for insurances and the claims. I mean, you are lucky if you even get a response. But we are not like that. We have handled cargoes of our customers. We work more closely with the customers. You ask a shipping line today, they are getting into customs clearance or transport. They offer everything. I'm not against shipping lines. I have been working with them, but there is still 60 to 70% of the cargoes which are handled by consolidators or freight forwarders or NVOCC. So we are not middlemen. We are the carriers in our own right, and that has been proved to the government of India when we had a meeting last 2 years back. So we are a service provider. We are not a middleman, and we offer services to the customers, and we add value to those services.
Got it, sir. Got it. So, coming to the container side of it, when you ship anything to international markets, your containers need to meet international specifications, and there are only a few companies that does containers in India. So, how do you source these containers from?
See, firstly, we are using containers from the carriers, shipping lines.
Okay.
Okay. So we don't have a problem in getting containers. We have contracts with the carriers. We commit for certain volumes over the years, and then we get our containers. We never had problems. When there is too much of congestion, that's the time. Yes, we also have problems, but so is everybody else. The other thing is leasing companies are less. Leasing companies are not more.
Okay.
But we already have agreements with some of the leasing companies.
And what is the duration of these contracts?
Leasing company contracts?
Yeah.
You can take for 5 years, you can take for 3 years, you can take for 1 year, you can take it for the one-way transport. Anything is possible.
But if you do not get the order, then you have to bear the cost anyways.
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
So we are very, very careful when we are hiring containers. These are not in big numbers. We operate our containers, own containers or lease containers on the legs where we know that when we send the cargo, the containers will come back to us, where we operate our network offices.
Got it.
So we are very safe into that. We don't have issues. Like for example, if I have to send a container into Dubai, we have a CP World office in Dubai. My brother handles it, so I 100% know that this cargo will be returned either to Bombay or to Singapore, and from Singapore we can get. So we work out on various trades from where the containers can move easily for us. So that is what we are doing.
So, in the container side of it, let's take an example that a ship is going to London, and on that single ship, there must be multiple service providers containers, right? So, how do you negotiate the perfect placement of the container and the perfect rate?
See, there is nothing like perfect placement.
Best, I
It's
would
not.
say best.
No. It is not. It is not in your hand as a forwarder
Okay.
or a consolidator or as a NVOCC.
So, but how do these carriers charge you then?
As I said, we have contracts with some of the carriers for going into South America, going into United States, going into Europe. So more or less the rates are fixed. People who have more volume than me will get better rates than me. People who have got less volume than me can get higher rates than me. So we are into somewhere in between where we try to play our cards and find customers, small ones who do not get those kind of rates. So there is no placement. I mean, we cannot tell the shipping line where to place the container, what to do, and all those things. And it is not necessary also. Freight wise, we are aware about the market. We know what are the rates prevailing, and on the basis of that, we do negotiate.
So, how do you as a company charge me as a customer? Let's say if I am your client and I want to send goods to London. So in if I talk about in simple courier terms, it is either weight based or volumetric based. How does this work in your industry?
See, it is weight or volume, whichever is higher, and that is for every industry, whether it is transport, whether it is courier, whether it is air freight, whether it is sea freight. Weight or volume, whichever is higher.
Not on container basis, per container basis.
No, when we are talking about less than container weight,
Okay.
those shipments. When it is containers,
let's say full container is filled with my product only.
Okay. Now, what is the load or what is the weight?
Again, okay.
Now, if you are shipping steel, you will get the last priority because you will have 27 tons for a 20-foot container. Okay, my containers are 27 tons, 24 tons for a 40-foot container. So obviously, the shipping lines are getting less revenue out of these kind of scrap, steel, heavy items.
Got it.
Okay. At the same time, if it is very light, they are very happy because they can then add a good combination of heavy and light. So they keep on working based on the container, based on the customers. They work, okay, this company is giving me containers on an average with 15 tons of cargo weight. This is what I can give. He is giving me for 10 tons, I can give him better. Something of this kind, the shipping line keeps on working.
So, in ocean freight, the biggest risk you face is of unforeseen events. If I talk about, if I were to name a few, Red Sea crisis being one, and second, when Evergreen ship got stuck in the Suez Canal. So, how do you mitigate this risk? And is the cost borne by the service provider, you or the client?
See, first of all, since the day I came into shipping, I have taught one thing. The cargo owner pays for the transport. Okay? So why should we pay for it?
Yeah.
It's your cargo. You are the ultimate beneficiary and you pay for it. We can fight for you with the shipping lines, but we cannot mitigate that. Say, for example, when the Red Sea crisis started, we had one container, I think, if I'm not wrong, was shipped on Hapag-Lloyd. A lot of 5 containers or something like that. And after the vessel sailed, after we took the bill of lading, the carrier said that you have to pay $12,000 before you get the delivery. I said, why? So we fought with them with a nail. Finally, they reduced that $2,000-3,000, but they still collected it, and my customer paid for it.
Okay, customer paid for it.
Yeah, because it is not my fault.
Hmm.
I am very clear that I am using somebody's services. I am not a vessel owner. I am not a transport owner. I am putting two and two together to give you a service. Okay, and all our customers are fully aware about it, and they know that these are. He will try to help out, but he cannot be responsible.
So, in your 44 years of experience, have you seen these kind of situations aggravating? Because considering the political landscape of the world economy.
See, I wouldn't see that they are aggravating. I wouldn't see that they are growing or anything. But I cannot say that they will not grow.
Okay.
Okay, and these kind of situations do keep on happening. You know, we have to find a way out the best we can, and that is only possible when we have good rapport with the shipping lines. You know, we get to know when you see the news, you advise your customers that this is what is happening in this area and all those things. But you have zero control. Okay, so when you have no control on a situation, you just pray for it, and if you have control, you work on it.
Yeah.
So that's it. We believe in that, and that is what we do.
Okay. So, coming to, you have ventured into a new project called Abhilya, where you
See,
focus on.
Abhilaya and One World.
Hmm.
One World is the company. Abhilaya is the brand.
Okay.
See, Abhilaya.
One Word is this joint venture that you entered with Hong Kong company.
No, no,
right?
no, no.
Okay.
That is CDR.
Okay, CDR.
That is CDR. Where we are 30%, they are 70%. One World is an 100% subsidiary of Total Transport Systems. Abhilaya is the brand under which we operate the business. Abhilaya.
Yeah. Acha, Abhilaya. Okay.
Abhilaya.
Got it. Got it. Got it. So can I say that you will be direct competitors of Shiprocket and Delivery in this segment?
Shiprocket is one of our customers. They are aggregators.
Okay.
Delivery is too big for me to take them as a competition. But we have certain people like Loadshare, Elastic Run, and all those things. Of course, they are bigger than us, but still, you can say in competition. And it is like this with Shiprocket, the aggregators. They aggregate for all the customers, and then they choose who is the best on which run.
Okay.
They use us.
So you have used this term a lot of times, multi-modal and last mile delivery. What is the difference between the two?
Last mile delivery is part of multimodal. What is multimodal? Multimodal is using various modes of transport to deliver. In last mile, what we are doing is we are delivering cargo from either our small little center, which we have opened for Amazon, Flipkart, or we are picking up from Amazon center and delivering it to the user. Say, for example, you order online, and then we are the ones who deliver into those certain areas. So that is what is the difference.
Okay.
So if you talk about last mile delivery is part of the multimodal activity that we do, because it involves various different types of transport. It is a way of transport.
So if we talk about Indian logistics sector, the main problem is, first, it's very unorganized, and it is unorganized because it's very inefficient. If I talk about the truck freight, the main problem is them. If my truck is going from Pune to, let's say, Bombay, the problem is the truck doesn't have enough cargo to come back, so it comes back empty. So the government has introduced something called National Logistic Policy, where it plans to shift from multimodal transport system to point. So what are your views on it? How will it impact you as a service provider?
See, I would talk about the national logistic policy. The imbalance of trade is always going to be there. Okay, until and unless the government takes initiatives, and which they are doing, to move cargoes or move the industry to those areas. Like, for example, if there is an industry in Pune
Hmm.
which is uh, bringing cargo through international transport, which we are moving it to Pune.
Hmm.
Okay. Now, there has to be some industry who is exporting from Pune, then
Yeah.
only there will be a balance.
Yes.
Okay. And these national logistic policies cannot take care of that. This is a totally different way. Okay. So when you talk about imbalance of trade, this imbalance of trade is always going to be there. It cannot happen that Pune has got 100 exporters and 100 importers. Cannot be.
Makes sense.
Okay. So these this is a different subject.
Hmm.
National logistic policy is a different subject. When you talk of national logistic policy, what is it that the government is trying to do? Basic thing that the logistic cost, which we term it as 13-14% out of India, the developed countries have 8, and all those things. So government plans to bring down the logistic costs. What are the factors which affect the logistic cost? Is one, the road infrastructure. Now, a simple thing, if you have to move cargo from Navashiva to Ahmedabad, it will take you at least 18 to 20 hours easily. What is the distance? 500.
Yeah.
Okay. If the same thing is to be done in Europe, it will be done in 5-6 hours. So, the road plays a very important role. Our government is trying to come up with various things to have a better infrastructure. That is the basic thing of reducing the. Now, if the requirement goes up because our exports are increasing, our imports are increasing, when the requirement goes up, what happens is, are we just going to add on vehicles or we are going to increase their turnaround times? So this is what government is trying to remove, like removal of octroi was one of the biggest steps by the government to, what used to take us nearly 72 hours to come from Delhi to Navashiva, now takes about 25-26 hours. With the new highway coming up, it will be further reduced. So these are the steps which the government has taken. The other thing, most important thing, what I feel, I may be wrong, but this logistic cost includes the cargoes which are perished because of insufficient storage, because of insufficient cold chain activities. Okay, so for example, a manufacturer of, a producer of oranges in Nagpur, if he doesn't get the transport or the
Warehousing
storage,
facility.
warehousing, his produce is
Gone.
gone. And 30% of our agricultural produce goes waste year after year. So the government will have to and is encouraging cold storages, is encouraging transport in refrigerated vehicles and all those things, and distribution. So these are the things what the government is doing. The other thing, with the removal of octroi, with the removal of state boundaries or whatever you call, there is a free flow of vehicles which reduces the time, which helps to increase the life of that vegetable or the fruit or whatever you say. So these are the steps being taken. The other thing is, have a very transparent way of that both the shipper and the consignee gets to know the things very transparently. He can plan it better. The other thing, they have reduced the documentation processes, like getting all the stakeholders online. They have reduced the time taken for the turnaround or whatever. So these are certain things that the government is doing, but we still have a long way to go. It will improve and I'm 100% sure we'll see better days, and eventually our logistic costs will come down. When our logistic costs in relation to the GDP comes down drastically, we will see that our exports are much cheaper in the international market. Our domestic market sees a much better development. So all in all, in the next 10 years to follow, I think we should be very much on the line. I'm very, very hopeful about it. And we will see much better connectivity,
Yes.
transportation, different modes of transport, and things getting better and better for this trade.
So coming to warehousing, you provide warehousing facility too, right?
We provide warehousing facility for our LCL customers.
Okay.
We don't own any warehouse. Okay?
Asset light. Again,
We
asset
are
light.
a very asset light model. Like for example, 10 years back, I was having a space of 3,500 square meters. Today, I'm 12,800 square meters. So if I had built a warehouse, today's requirement 3,800, tomorrow's you add 3,000, I would still not be able to operate out of it. And for those many years, I would have paid for that warehouse. And it's expensive.
So, and on what basis? Let's say I am the warehouse owner.
Yeah.
Right, and I am charging you 1,000 rupees. You will be charging what amount will you be charging to the customer?
See, we are not looking at, we are not renting warehouse space.
Okay.
Firstly, okay, we use warehouse for our operations. Now they charge me for the whole lot, but I give on a per cubic meter or per ton. So this is how, which is built in my terminal handling charges, which I charge to the customers.
Got
Okay,
it.
so again, it is a question of volume. If my container has got just 45 cubic meter, I may not even recover my cost. If my container is 60 cubic meter, I might make little more money on this, but it is very, very difficult to say whether they gave me 100 and I gave them 120. No, it's not like that. It all depends on what type of cargo for which port and all those things. It is a complex calculation which cannot be, there cannot be a formula set for that. It's like this.
So coming to one last financial question, if I look at your financial statements, your revenues have almost doubled in last 5-6 years, but at the same time, net profits have seen a plunge. So why is it that, and what vision do you have for the company?
So I do agree that our profitability has not grown in correlation of our overall revenues. There are two main reasons for it. In the last 10 years, the manpower cost has gone up drastically. A resource, average resource, I will say, which was costing me about 25,000-30,000 10 years back, is today 60 to 70,000. So it is the manpower cost overall in India has gone up, and you would have noticed that, or you would have, while interviewing people, you would have come across that this manpower is one of the biggest costs. The other thing is, if we do not keep on training, this industry has an attrition ratio of nearly 7%.
Wow.
We are at just 1%, not even 1%.
On
So
a
we are
company
doing,
level.
yeah, on a company level. So we are doing something right to retain our people and get, and that is how you see the revenues going up. But the flip side of it is when there's no turnover, your cost keeps on going up, right? The other thing is, like, if I have a developmental plan, which, like for example, 10 years back, I had no full container load business. I would not have a team for it. The revenues though are less, but I have to go into full container load business because the growth in LCL is limited, because the quantum of the correlation of exempt rate to LCL business is just 1.35%. So I have to look at other businesses coming forward. Now, if I have to look at other businesses coming up, then I have to also look at building up a team. Now, these are expensive things. The other thing is volatility in the freight levels. If I have today a freight level of $5,000, I can easily keep a margin of $200-300. When the freight levels come down to 1,500, 2,000, how much margin can I keep? So, but I cannot afford that I just reduce our team just because the freight levels are down. And in the last 3-4 years, what we have seen is ups and downs, and to a level of nearly freight levels
Especially
going up
after
10% and the 10 times and all those kind of things, you know. So this is little erratic, this thing. See, 2023 March and 2024 March, the freight levels have dropped. Or I would say have seen little bit increase. March to today, the freight levels have dropped. So what profit I made there and what profit I can make here are two different things. Cannot correlate. The other thing is when the freight levels are low, there will be 10-20 competitors who will open up a box for United States because they know that their loss is going to be this much if there is less this thing. When the volume, when the freight level is $18,000, they will dare not open up a box for United States. So business will come. So it is a corollary. Like sometimes you make money, sometimes you lose money, but you still have to be in the game and in a profitable game. And we are trying our best to find out how best we can do and keep on doing. We are very, very confident that our LCL business has grown over a period. Our FCL thing has streamlined quite well. In fact, in the last 1 year, we have doubled up our FCL volume. Our project division is doing good. Again, it is a very early thing to comment
FCL
on.
and project are high margin business.
No. It is nothing to do with high margin or anything. It all depends on the prevailing freight levels.
Okay. Got it.
Okay. So this is what it is, and we see a very good growth in the projects. We see a very good growth in the FCL trade. LCL also, of course, they are growing with new services opened up. We will have edge over our competition. So I'm very confident that this will work. What results we had last year, I'm 100% sure we'll double up in this year when we close.
Okay.
That is what my perception is.
Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
I had a lovely discussion, did not know even L of logistics, but now I think I know
You
it
can
all.
be a teacher.
Yeah. Thank you so much.